Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am so excited for this video because we are going to be playing with one of the brand new palettes from Terra. I did it. I pulled the trigger on my first brand new palette purchase of 2024. I couldn't resist, and I'm really excited because this is my first Terra purchase in an incredibly long time. I actually went online and looked in my purchase history, and it was 2022 the last time I purchased from this brand, and not because I don't love them, because honestly, especially when it comes to their beautiful shifty multi-chromes, I would say that their formulas are really in my top 2-3 formulas. So it just hasn't happened, y'all. I don't even have a good reason. I mean, other than the fact that I do feel like when they've been doing launches recently, like if they do singles, they've been doing a lot at a time, and I just have a hard time with that. I just have a hard time because I'm kind of like looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just can't decide. So I didn't. However, when this palette came out, I was like, okay, this looks like a color story I would really enjoy. The packaging itself is honestly stunning. And I was like, I like the idea of having a 6-pan of Terra shades. And also I'm assuming that these are magnetic so that I can pop these out, swap it around. So I did decide to get the solar option. By the way, you had the lunar and the solar. I was tempted to get both. I just got the solar. I kept it to a minimum. I did actually also pick up 3 single shades because I had some rewards points to use. That was a whole experience. I will get into that later. We'll talk about it at the end. And I will also swatch those 3 shades for you too, in case you were curious about those. But in today's video, we are going to do eye swatches of every single shade here. So I'm using every single shade in this palette. I did go ahead and do eye swatches of the shimmers and then just very quickly like run one of the mattes through the crease so that you can kind of see them in action. We have one more look to do, in case you couldn't tell. That's why I have no eye makeup on today. So we're gonna do that as well together. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. But we are gonna dive right in. We might as well just get into the details of this palette, but like I said, we're gonna be doing the look together and then also going through those other 2 quick, I'm not even gonna call them eye looks. They really are eye swatches. I'm not going to bother doing hand swatches because I think most of us have seen swatches very beautifully curated, like edited, looking lovely on the Instagram. I think it's really when I am looking at videos to see new launches, I just really kind of want to see them in use and see what the reality of what they're like is. And so that's what I'm hoping to provide you today. I do think I will very quickly go through my singles collection and see if there is anything that I have that is sort of like similar-ish to these shimmers. I mean, the mattes are really beautiful, but they are just like nice matte shades. I do have to say, I am loving this dirty, grungy mustard. This honestly was kind of what sealed the deal for me on this as far as the mattes go. I was like, oh yeah, I can see myself using that one a lot. You know that that's a color that I really enjoy. The solar palette is $39. The lunar version is $45, but I do believe that that has one more shimmer / multi-chrome. The details are all on the Terra Instagram. And of course there were bundles as well with the lip glosses. Honestly, I was very curious to try one. I did think that several of the shades were pretty, but deep. They're very deep shades, at least most of them were. And I was kind of like, a deep glossy shade just sounds like trouble and not something that I needed in my life right now. I will say there were a few of the pre-order singles that looked beautiful, but for right now, I just really decided to focus on the palette. All right, without further ado, I'm gonna zoom you in so that you can see the eye swatches, and then we will also finish up this swatch and I'll give you all of my final thoughts on this new release from Terra. Of course, it's gonna be, what is that even, a chainsaw? All right, we are gonna start with Solar Halo. This one is more flaky. I just went to pick it up. By the way, I'll be using the Refer 21 because I have several of them. This one is pretty flaky. Flaky. There's not much I can do about that out there, but I'm hoping that using it with the damp brush will help a little bit. As always, I have put down just a little bit of concealer. I might switch out concealers. I'm using the Jouer right now, and it's a bit dry on my eyelid, so I might switch to a different one, but I will let you know if I do. Okay, with a bit of manipulation, this was very, very flaky at first when I put it on, but with a bit of manipulation, I was able to get it smoothed out quite a bit. I don't see a lot of texture on the lid. I did it first. I do think that this is probably gonna be one that's best used with a finger. Yeah, to really see that shift, it's probably gonna be best with a finger, but wow, this one is definitely more flaky. Okay, now we're going into Galactic Heart. This one is much easier to work with. This is pretty. It's almost like a taupe and a green with a little purple and pink. And if you know me, you know that I am not team fingers. It's very, very rare that I will put on a shadow with my fingers, so I won't be doing that. I did just want to see, this one feels like a fingers shade to me. This one is definitely softer. It's kind of a nice little spicy neutral. Okay, so what I thought I would do is go ahead and, this is just like super simple, low key. I'm not gonna put mascara on or anything, but so that we can see these two mattes here, I am going to use Celestial Love, this fun, like funky mustard, with the Solar Halo shade. So kind of do these in pairs. I do think I am going to pair Galactic Heart though, that's this one here, with Nebula Whisper, the aqua shade. And then what I will do is we will do a full look with Amorous Rays and Sunset Embrace. And maybe we'll pull something else in too, but then that way you're literally gonna see everything on the eye, which I think will be fun. Okay, so far so good. I'm gonna clean up this little situation under here really quick. I just wanted to give my thoughts. So far, I'm really liking the matte formula. Again, this was just like a quick little way for you to actually see the mattes on the eye. Very cute. So, I'm gonna go take this off. We'll do the last two shades. Ridiculous. All right, lovelies. I hope you enjoyed those other two very quick eye swatches. Definitely not eye looks, but eye swatches. I thought that it would just be kind of helpful, even though it was like the lamest of the lame application, but then that way you could really see those mattes on the eye. I will say, when I wiped off Nebula Whisper, that aqua shade, I have a feeling she's gonna be a stainer, just because when I was wiping it off, I still had like a little bit of residual. Once I washed my face, it was okay, but having that one on, I mean, I had that on for like 10 minutes max, so I have a feeling that that one might leave a little staining. Don't overshare, but do just want to throw that out there. I did decide for this look, I did change to the Lancome Tinty Dole concealer. concealer. I do just have it on my upper eyelid. I didn't put anything on the bottom yet, just in case we get some fallout, just in case. All right, so let's go ahead. I am gonna go through with the matte first. We're gonna go through with Sunset Embrace. Let's see, I've been using the Larifay E13 before. Let's see, do I have another E13? Yeah, I do. So we'll go ahead and go through with that. I actually really like this shade. Like I said, I don't think that there's anything necessarily unique about the mattes that are in this palette, but that Celestial Love, that like, it's a mustard with a bit of green to it. So I did like, you know, that vibe. And this is actually very pretty as well. I do feel like I have another matte in my singles collection that's similar to this, but this is my very first time trying the Terra Moon matte formula, and I'm pretty impressed. In the past, it's been hard to, you know, put my money down on spending money on their matte shades when I just wasn't quite sure of the formula. And I do have other singles brands that I really enjoy the formulas of. I love Sydney Grace mattes. I also really enjoy the Divina mattes. I would say that this formula to me is somewhere in the middle. It's not quite as pigmented and deepening as Sydney Grace can be, but it's also a little bit less powdery than Divina can be. And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. You know that I love my Divina shades, but they're pretty soft, and you know, they are a little bit more buildable. This is kind of somewhere in between those two formulas, I would say. I do really like this shade. It's a nice, like, sort of like desert earth shade. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. All right, that blended out really nicely. I did decide to go through with a clean, fluffy brush. I just went through with the BK Beauty Naked Rose and 13. And then now we're gonna move into Amorous Rays. I tell you what, this looks like a total Kelly color. Again, this one is a little bit more flaky. It's like that dry flaky, you know, where it's like when you use a brush, it picks up with dry flakes, but then you can kind of like smush those flakes back into the pan. I don't know. Y'all know I'm not Team Flake. I'm not Team Flake. And I am going to just go through with this on a wet brush. This might be something that I use with glitter glue in the future, just to avoid the mess, but we will see. This does look pretty, so hopefully it's worth the mess. Okay, not too bad. We're not doing too bad so far. Oh, I just felt something go on my cheek. Okay, I don't even know if I was in frame for that one. If not, I'm gonna do the other one now so that you can see it applied. I kind of forgot that I was like filming. I was more concerned with not getting sparkle all over my face. I give myself like a B+ on that. Okay, definitely getting a better result from tapping with the wet brush than swiping. I also feel like tapping is giving me a more molten effect. I think you can even see that just in the lighting right here. It's giving me that super shiny molten effect, as opposed to swiping giving me more of that like glittery vibe. Both are pretty, but it just kind of depends on which you prefer. All right, I'm just gonna see if I can kind of mimic that by tapping over the lid on this side. It's not quite the same, but we got close. I'm going to clean this situation up, put on some concealer, and we'll do the lash line. All right, I feel better. Got the under eye cleaned up. It wasn't too bad. I know that this would be a palette, I mean, most of the time, unless it's just like a molten shimmer that I know is not going to have any fallout. I always do my eyes before my face, and that would be the case with this as well. So I think I'm actually going to just run that Celestial Love underneath my lower lashes, and we'll go through with the Sigma E36 just to get like a really faint dusting of this one. And I'm kind of keeping this to like the outer 2/3. All right, there we have it. There isn't really a shade in here that I want to use as an inner corner right now. I mean, obviously I could use Solar Halo. I don't really feel like it, and plus it's so flaky that right now I don't want to deal with the mess. So I think what I am gonna do is I'm just gonna throw on a little bit of Astral, which is of course from Terra Moons. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of that on using the Larifay E19 pencil brush, and just using this dry, but I'm just getting like a little hint of that warmth on the inner corner there. I love this shade. It's been a while since I've used this one. Nice and spicy, feeling like a fire goddess. All right, or a sun goddess. I should say sun goddess, right? We're working with the solar palette. So I'm gonna go put on some mascara and we can chat about this palette. Okay, so I have to say, I really love this look. I mean, it's warm, it's sparkly, it's all the things that I really enjoy. Do I think it's anything unique? No. Do I think I also ended up using the shimmer shade in here that I think is, you know, the most kind of like basic? Yes. This shade Galactic Heart in the middle, that one I would say is the most unique out of the set, and it's just, at least in my collection, because it is that interesting, almost neutralized olive with that pewtery, taupey, purple pink thing going on with it. You know those times that you're just like, how do I describe this shade? Let me just say all the shades. That's how I feel about this one. That being said, I do like this little set. I think it's gonna be fun, especially, you know, for summertime. I could see this being really nice. Like, these are definite summer shades for me. I mean, I do think also like this could make a really good fall vibe palette, but I can see using this when the temperatures rise here. So like I said, I will absolutely go through, and if I can find any shades in my collection that are similar to these shimmers, I will go ahead and swatch those out for you. So that'll be at the end. So let's talk a little bit about value and if I feel like this is properly priced. At $39, I mean, I think that really is about what to expect from an indie brand for, you know, something that has packaging like this. I think a lot of the allure of this for me was the packaging. The one thing I will say, and this is maybe being kind of nitpicky, but this packaging is really, it's just a wrap on cardboard. And I noticed it right away when I took it out of the package that mine has, and I haven't taken off the little film yet, but my wrap is kind of like folded out right here. So it's not completely wrapped in tight like it should be. So it's got this like little overhang of the foil around it. It's just like one of those little things, but it does, it's just a little thing, but it is a thing, you know? So I was like, oh man, this isn't like wrapped properly. And I just feel like that over time can lead to, you know, things kind of like peeling and stuff. So that was kind of a bummer. Other than that, I like the shades. It is about what I expected. I don't know that when you think of some of the amazingly like sparkle, shimmery, really depthy textured shadows, I don't really think that you get a lot out of this. So looking in the description of this palette, they describe this as an iridescent multichrome, a duochrome, and a multichrome. I don't, you know, sometimes some of Terra Moon's shades, like I'm thinking of all the like nebula shades, like those ones you're just like, wow, there's so many things going on in here right now. I don't think that's what you're getting out of these. They're nice, they're shimmery, they're really beautiful. I don't think that it's anything that is like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before. And that's not really necessarily what I thought I was getting out of this. I thought I was getting a cute little travelable palette with some pretty indie chrome, with some pretty indie multichrome, with some pretty indie shimmers, and fingers crossed, some mattes that I would really use and enjoy. And actually, I'm very pleased with these mattes. Like even the dark Nebula Whisper, and I didn't really super build that one up when I did that look, but I can see this one working really well. It wasn't patchy at all, so very pleased with these. Pleased enough that I might at some point get some Terra Moon's mattes just to play with more. So let's talk a little bit about the 3 shades that I got and my whole thing with the rewards points. Okay, so I had gotten an email from Terra Moon saying that my rewards points were expiring at the end of, I think it's at the end of March. And I was like, oh, this will be the perfect time I can use my rewards on the new palette. And I didn't see anywhere listed in, you know, the Instagram posts, anywhere in using the rewards. I actually had to ask my friend Steven how the heck to even get to my rewards to use them. But I was like, I don't see anything here saying that you can't use them on particular things, but I couldn't, because what happens is you basically cash in a number of your rewards points to then get a coupon code that you can use off. So that also being said, you need to have enough to be able to get like a specific coupon code, and you can only use one of them, and you can't use it with a creator discount code. So I went through, I added my coupon code, and of course this was like after the palettes had launched, you know, set my alarm, did all the things in case they were going to sell out. But I went in and it was like, nope, not valid. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And there was a shade that I had seen in Steven's swatches a while ago, Twinkle Dust, maybe. I was like, oh, that was from the winter launch or the fall launch, I guess, or what are we calling this? Is this the spring launch? So it would have been the winter launch. All the things. And it wasn't good on that either. I was like, okay. So then I mean, I was going through and like trying to add things. I'm like, I don't know what I can use these on. I would say 3/4 of what I put into my cart, I couldn't use these rewards on. It was a little bit frustrating. So I don't know if there's somewhere that I'm missing what you can and cannot use these rewards points on. It was really frustrating, and I just finally was like, all right. And I wasn't even home at the time. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna go through and get things that seem interesting to me enough that I would maybe actually spend my money on them. Something that I can use the rewards on, and hopefully something that I don't already have. So this first one is the most unique out of these three, and it was one that I knew that I wouldn't have because it's a blue, and I just don't really have a lot of blues, but this blue looked really interesting. This is Moontide. It is very, very pretty. So I was like, well, I have been getting more into wearing blues and purples, and this is really kind of like that blue, purple, teal, but with that beautiful, like, Terra Moon's something special texture to it. This has an array. Oh yeah, see, this is more of like a blurple. So it's got a purple base with a lot of like almost deep periwinkle shift to it with some green and some multicolored sparkle to it. So pretty. So I was able to use that on this one, right? So then the next one that I chose, I mean, y'all know I love a good green gold, greeny gold. So I thought that Martian would be great. And by the way, I didn't have any of these three already, which was great. Now this actually has a nice texture to it. It's a little bit thicker, but this is definitely, you know, I would say something that I probably have something similar to in my collection. So this is kind of like a green gold, but it has a almost like warm orangey brown base to it. So that's really pretty. This is the first time I'm touching these, by the way. This last one, which is so funny. When I saw this, I was like, okay, I can get down behind this. This is a sexy little yummy, like spicy neutral. And then my friend Kara put it in her palette for our series that we do together every month, our BYOP series. This month was Positive Energy, and she put Mocha, what is it? Mocha Twilight in. And so this one is just this really, really pretty, like I said, spicy neutral. It's a little bit cool, a little bit hazy. It's kind of like a taupey chocolate. Can't wait to try that one out. This is gonna be super yummy. I'm like, yes, please. Date night, smoky eye. So we've got something very unique that I haven't been wearing a lot of, something that I can totally get a lot of use out of that's right up my alley, and something that, again, you know, will just give me that like dramatic smoky eye, like effortless. So they were good ones to be able to use my rewards points on. So by the way, if you know the secrets behind the rewards program, let me know, because I was like, I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, I am glad that I have this palette. I am also glad though that I didn't get both of them, because, you know, looking at the other palette, the Lunar palette, it is obviously more into those really cool tones. You've got the purples. I think one of the shades is almost even more into the blue realm. And I was like, as much as I'm kind of leaning into those colors a little bit more, I don't need to be spending more money on those shades right now. I got one to play with. And that's going to be good enough for me. So I think that's it, y'all. I am very excited to have a brand new little palette in my hands. Let me know if you picked up anything from this collection. I would be really curious to know your thoughts as well. So now, before we get into those comparison swatches, I just want to take a moment to thank you for watching this video. If you did like it, please don't forget to actually hit the like button. It really does help me out here on my channel, and I will see you really soon. All right, so spoiler alert, I don't have any exact dupes for these shades. It's so funny when you're like, I mean, this isn't necessarily exactly unique, but I personally don't have anything exactly like any of these. So the things that I'm gonna show you are just sort of my like first thought, maybe this is similar, so maybe we have similar collections, and now this would give you an idea of what these truly look like as well. Hopefully it's helpful. All right, this one, I honestly, like I said, this was gonna be the most unique in my collection, and I was trying to find things that even had like similar shifts. So this is obviously the Terra Moons one. Here we have Opulent from Cleona, and this is Twisted Dirty Martini from Touch of Glam. I was just trying to find like something with the pink, the green, the taupe. This is a really unique one. It's a fun one. I think here, you know, in the hand swatches, you can see it better than the way it came out on the eye. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have fun playing with this one, but I will be darned if I could find one that was close. Sort of like the last shade where it's like, I have things that are maybe in the color, but it's hard to find the shimmer and the texture. So, you know, leave it to Terra Moons.